Welcome to another Treeversity video tutorial. In this video we're going to talk about the process of classifying images. So here I am at the Treeversity website. I've already logged in, so I'm ready to get started. Now this is the interface that volunteers are going to be using to classify images and identify features. On my left hand side I have a photo that is drawn from the Arboretum's plant image database. And these are the images that we're going to add unique metadata to by having volunteers identify 18 different features in these images. So our images already have some metadata associated with them. We can find it by clicking this info icon down here. So this metadata includes the family, the Latin and the common name of the plant, as well as its accession number, and then the date the picture was taken. And this can be particularly useful if you're trying to be confident about identifying a phenological feature in an image. I also have this watermark down here that will show me the photographer name, the plant species name, as well as the accession number. So I can navigate around within my image window here using these tools. So I can zoom in, I can pan around, I can also rotate the image. So these are tools meant to make it easier for volunteers to identify features within images. So a great place to start is to show the project tutorial. So if you work your way through this tutorial, you'll find information about the project, and you can use these little buttons, or you can click continue down here. Volunteers will learn about the purpose of the project, how they'll be contributing, as well as how they can identify features in images and the specific process for doing that. They'll also learn about what they should identify and what features they should exclude. And then we have a few examples of images that have already been classified, and you can see which features to include in those images. Alright, so I won't walk through the entire tutorial because we'll be talking about a lot of that content in this video. So on my right hand side I have all of our 18 features that we want to identify in our images. So these features include phenological features such as autumn leaf color, bud break, morphological features such as bark, bud, cone, flower inflorescence, and we have some other features as well, including animal features like bird, insect, spider, and mite. We also have lichen, moss, fungus, if any of those are present in the image. Plant health issue, which would describe disease or a pest, whole plant, which means that the entire plant or most of it is shown in the image, and finally poor image quality or no features, which would describe an image that's overexposed, underexposed, too blurry, or maybe there's just no features in that image to identify. So when I'm ready to identify my features, I'll take a look at my image. So I can see very clearly in this image the flower of a rhododendron, and I can see the male and female reproductive parts. So this is very clearly an open flower, multiple open flowers. So I'll go up to flower and inflorescence. When I click on a feature, I'm going to find more information about that feature as well as a description of it. I can work my way through these sample images as well to get an idea of what other flowers at the Arboretum might look like. Finally, near the end of these sample images, I can find false positives. False positive images are images in which someone might think they're seeing a flower or whatever pertaining feature, but they're actually seeing a different morphological feature. So in this example here, we actually have a cone, not an inflorescence. And here we actually have a fruit and not an inflorescence. So sometimes images can be confusing, and hopefully these false positives will help us be more confident about what to include and what not to include. So I'm confident that I have a flower here, so I'll click Identify. This will add this feature to the bottom left-hand corner of the image, and it will also indicate that up here by showing the feature in yellow. If I want to remove this feature, I can click on the X here, and that will remove it from the image. So now I'm going to search for other features within this image. I can't really see any of these other features, so once I'm confident that I've identified all the features, I'll click Done. And then I can click Next to proceed to the next image, or I can use the Talk button to ask a question or to communicate something about that image to other volunteers and Treeversity team members. So the Talk button will automatically create a post in the Talk forum in the notes board. So the notes board will show the subject number and then all the posts associated with the different subjects that have been identified. So using that talk button will automatically create this post. So I can write my post down here. I'll just write nice flower. And then I can add tags, and I can do that by using the hashtag, and then I can choose from a list of commonly used tags, or I can type my own tag. I'll type flower. It happens to be a commonly used tag. So when I include tags in my posts, it makes them more searchable within the talk forum. So I'm ready to add my comment. Great, so now I can see my post that has been created in the talk forum, Treeversity talk, and it actually automatically takes me there. I want to go back to classifying images, so I'll click classify, and we'll go to our next image. So this image is a little more complicated. We have what look like newly emerged leaves that are still expanding. This is Aeschylus. So we also have this what will turn into an inflorescence here. So we have some flower buds here. And this is all the contents of a bud that is just opened in early spring. And this has probably happened in March or April. And we can check the date. Yep, it happened in early April. So let's start identifying. First and foremost, we're going to say leaf, because we can see leaves featured prominently here in the foreground. We're also going to include flower inflorescence, because we have our inflorescence here, which is a collection of small flowers. We're going to say bud in this image because we also have these flower buds that have not yet opened yet. So we'll identify bud as well. What else do we want to identify? Well, this bud looks like it's already basically opened up, but down here on the stem we have some breaking buds that haven't fully opened up, exposing their leaves yet. So we're going to say bud break as well. Let's see, what else do we want to include? Well, we can see this stem pretty prominently here in the foreground as well. So we're going to include bark here because we can see the bark on that stem. And what else might we want to include? That looks pretty good for this image. So once I'm confident that I've identified all the features for that image, I'll click Done. And then I can click Next to proceed. So if I really like an image, I can use these two buttons down here to save it. So if I click this image, it'll add it, or this button, it'll add this image to my favorites. And remember, I can find my favorites and my collections by going up here to this drop-down menu. I can also add this image to a collection by clicking this icon here. So I can search my existing collections. I have one called Oaks and one called Cones. But I want to make a new collection, Leaves. In fact, actually, let's say Autumn Leaves. There we go. And we'll add that collection. So that'll create a new collection and it'll add that leaf to it. And remember, I can access my collections or my favorites pool by going to the drop-down menu or using the Collect button here. And there we can see our collection with autumn leaves and that one image that I just added to it. So that's the process of classifying images. And this is what volunteers will be doing for the bulk of their time. You may get some questions from them in the talk forum. And if they have questions about a specific image, they may post them in notes or they might post them in help or technical support. If we go to notes, we can actually see the note that I just posted, as well as some other notes that I have posted as I work my way through the workflow. So on this image here, I can see my note, nice flower, and my tag. So that's a breakdown of classifying images. And stay tuned for the next video, and we'll talk about the talk forum and how to use the moderator tools. Thank you.